everybody? Russ, the Millennial Numismatist here, and I literally just walked back into my house from the ANA's World's Fair of Money in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that was held this last week. And I wanted to just sit and kind of get some thoughts out while they're still really fresh in my mind, since I quite literally just walked in from the airport. So, first and foremost, there was a lot of big hype going on right now at the World's Fair about a very certain company, CAC. So CAC, or CAC, has finally launched their grading service. They are a little bit behind right now on some things, which I'm going to get into. But they were giving out a large amount of sample slabs at the ANA's World's Fair of Money. They were very popular. Everybody is really coveting these things right now. I've had some initial impressions about the slab itself. So the slab is a little bit different than anything else on the market. It's a little reminiscent. It's kind of a hybrid almost of PCGS and NGC. Kind of really interesting. When I first picked this up, my initial reaction was this feels cheap because it's light. And then upon a lot more close inspection, it turns out this is not cheap at all. This is actually a really, really nice slab. I have it on pretty good authority. These things are virtually indestructible, which will make cracking coins kind of interesting, but that's kind of neither here nor there for a lot of us. But I've heard of guys already running these over with trucks and having no problems with it. There are some generations of PCGS and NGC holders that are really cheap, and they chip and they crack, and I've even seen a couple shatter when dropped from a distance of a few feet onto concrete. So these are very much the opposite. And what's even cooler, they are made in the United States of America. So all of the components of this slab are American made and American assembled. Now, here's the problem with that. Right now, there's a backlog in CAC being able to actually get coins back to owners in some denominations because they do not have enough of the gaskets that go around in here to hold the coin. So right now, they're a little behind. I don't know that I would call this a messy launch for them, but I would say it's probably not exactly what they were looking for. But I did talk to a lot of dealers, a lot of very well-placed dealers. Some of these dealers are guys that run billion-dollar corporations. So I have a lot of information on very good authority that the industry, and not just me, is really, really backing this play. Places like Heritage are going to basically accept these coins on par with NGC and PCGS coins. A lot of these guys are already investors in it. What was also really cool to see is being able to see how CAC is grading coins right now. I saw more than a few CAC slabs on the floor that were actual coins, not samples, not anything like that, not, Proof 70 Eagles, but real actual coins. And for the most part, I was very impressed. They are being very tough on coins, which is what we've come to expect from CAC, which is their whole shtick. So very cool to see them there. Very cool to interact with everybody about the new CAC slabs, things like that. Really great. Really, really great. Another big thing that happened is obviously the U.S. Mint is under the leadership of the new Mint Director, Ventris Gibson, is showing up to a lot more events and having a lot more interaction with the public, which I think is amazing. It's great. I had a meeting of the Liberty Seated Collectors Club that the Mint Director actually graced us with her presence, which was pretty cool. She gave us a quick talk. She was open to talking to people. But what's more interesting, I think, is the Morgan and Peace Dollar proof releases. The Mint had them there available, and there was quite a long line. I am intensely impressed with how good the Peace Dollar proofs look. I didn't really see a whole lot of the Morgans. They look pretty good from the few that I saw. But every Peace Dollar proof I saw looks fantastic, and I am actually really excited to own some. I pre-ordered mine, so I didn't pick mine up at the Mint, but I'll have a couple. Very, very cool. They look great. So that was another really great thing to see at the Mint. As far as business at at the ANA, my goodness, it was very brisk, very, very brisk. I talked to a lot of dealers that weren't having great times buying stock, but man, selling was brisk, very, very brisk selling. Every level was there buying coins, from guys that have a few bucks to spend to guys with tens of thousands of dollars in their pocket to really buy. So great in terms of business, absolutely tremendous. And I will say that I have something really cool to announce. We procured for a client the 1907 Ultra High Relief St. Gaudens Double Eagle in Proof 69. There's one of two of them graded in Proof 69, and we are paying $4.3 million for said coin. There will be a video about it very soon once I get it in my grubby little hands before we forward it on to the client. So that we'll do a deep dive into that, but really cool. So, like I said, business, really great at this show. And then just the camaraderie, like always. These shows are always great. If you've never made it to one of these shows because it's not really in your vicinity, look out for it if it does come there. And if you can make the trip, you really should make the trip. I have so much footage of so many different cool people. And one of the ones that I'm going to highlight, and it's going to be on this video, I'm going to tag this interview at the end of this video, is a gentleman named Robert Julian. Robert Julian is one of the most talented artists I have ever personally met in my life. Robert Julian does photorealistic, essentially, pictures of coins. And man, if you've never seen his work, you guys are about to be in for a real treat. So I really hope you enjoy that coming up. So I'm going to leave you with that. Enjoy that interview. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Hey, everybody. This is Russ with the Coin Show Podcast, and I am here at the ANA's World's Fair of Money in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I am sitting with Robert Julian. And Robert Julian, if you don't know yet, has kind of taken the world by storm with what appear to be some very lovely photographs of coins. However, I'm here to tell you, these aren't photographs. These are drawings. So, Bob, what I really want to know first off is, how did you start collecting? Have you always been a collector, or is it something a little bit newer for you?
No, I was big into coins in the late 70s, 80s, 90s. I collected a bunch of different stuff at the start, but I eventually kind of like found my niche in Lincoln cents. So I was collecting Lincoln cents. I was active in the local hobby. I was secretary of the Hillside Coin Club for about 5 years. I was the president for a year. I started the Lincoln Cent Society. So we were doing newsletters. I was writing articles and stuff. So I was really active. But I think I just burnt out by the early 2000s. I got away from the hobby for a while. Spent most of my time with my business. Sold that about a couple years ago, and just started getting back into the hobby again. And that's kind of where I'm at today.
Okay, so would you consider yourself an amateur artist, or are you a trained professional artist?
Well, I was an art and music major when I was in school, but when I got out of that, I got married, got away from that, had to get a career, so I ended up in engineering. So in engineering, I ended up doing a lot of technical drawings. I found a niche for that, doing technical illustrations, all kinds of different products that were under development. So I do drawings and illustrations for people to present, like at boards of directors, for, this is the products that we want to manufacture and produce. These are like conceptual drawings kind of stuff. I ended up doing a lot of work for chemical and petroleum refineries, doing like highly detailed piping and equipment diagrams for proposed plants, modifications, updates to existing systems, that kind of stuff. But computers took over in the late 90s. Not a lot of work for people doing that kind of work by hand. So I got out of it, went along with my career in other directions. But then after I retired and I got back into the hobby, I saw a fellow on Facebook bought a $1 or a dollar drawing of a seated Liberty dollar, right? And he paid like $500 for this drawing. And I looked at it and I thought it was really nice, but it's like I figured, I hadn't drug out my pencils and stuff for at least 10 years. So I figured I'd give it a shot. So I just started, and my favorite were Lincoln cents. So I did a drawing of one of my coins, and that was the first thing. And I published that on a Facebook penny group in June of last year, right? And after I did that, I got a lot of nice compliments and people started contacting me to do a drawing of their coin. So Bill Quorum, who's got a real nice registry set, wanted me to do a drawing of his 1909 VDB Matte Proof Lincoln cent. So I was thrilled to do that. And he was real happy. He then asked me to do 55 double die, so I did drawing of that. And then one after another, people on that group who specialize in different areas of cents reached out and had me do special drawings for them. And that was fine and good, but much wasn't really happening other than commission every so often. But then one of the guys who commissioned my drawings, a guy named Barry Johnson, said, you really should publish your work on virtual coin sheet. It's like you might find a little attraction there. So I did a series of drawings of, the cent, nickel, dime, quarter, half, and published, and my limited edition prints started to catch on. I had a real good showing at Central States where I met a lot of really nice people that I really wouldn't have met if it wasn't for that show. And I'm just going on and on here. Do you have any questions?
No, this is exactly what I think people are really interested. You've kind of broken into this space all of a sudden, and it's just intensely fascinating to so many people. I've talked to a bunch of people today about kind of what you're doing, and I mean everybody's just so impressed because when you look at these, I mean, if anybody but you, who I now know and we've had a few conversations, said, oh yeah, these are drawings I did, I'd call them a liar because they are so photorealistic. Well,
if you look at them, I don't know if you can see on your camera and stuff, but for example, let's look at the Buffalo nickel, right? Here's the Buffalo nickel, and if you look at the blow up of the face in the back, you can see that it's all fine pencil lines and such. But the smaller the images get, the more photorealistic
it looks.
But I've refined my technique and everything over the past year. When you draw with pencils, it's a feel. There's a feel in your hand with a pencil, how the point is laying on the paper. How much pressure you have to apply, what kind of point you need on the pencil to do what you want to do. It's kind of like something that it took me like about 6 months to get that feel back, to where now it's like when I'm drawing a line, I get exactly what I want all the time. So I think I'm pretty much where I was about 20 years ago with the feel of it.
Well, it is intensely impressive, and like I said, everybody really loves what you do. I bought myself a print that's going to go in my office. I know plenty of people have walked away with prints today.
It's so funny, I just meet people that, again, I don't know any of these people from Adam, right? And so I was talking, this guy came up and he was looking at my prints, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, well, I'll take the St. Gaudens, the Walking Liberty, I'll take 2 of those. And so I'm, boxing these up for him, and I say, well, why did you get 2 of the Walking Liberty? And he says, well, I can hang the 2 in my office, and the other Walking Liberty, I think I'm going to auction off at an A&A event. And I go, oh, that's cool, so you're associated with the A&A. And I find out he's the new incoming president of the A&A, and to this day I'm awful with names. I forget what it is. But we had a great talk. He'd like to do an article for the Numismatist.
That's great.
And I like the idea that I've got 2 of my pieces of art hanging in his office.
Absolutely. I think that's a very large feather in your cap.
And then the lady who runs the ANIA conventions, I think her last name is Kit or something like that.
Kim Click.
Yeah, Click. Yeah, she's got my buffalo drawing. She's got this one hanging in her office, kind of a thing. And then David Lawrence Galleries, they're taking and they're putting my artwork throughout their facilities. Ian Russell, great collections. They're building a new facility. He bought a whole portfolio, and he's going to be putting it throughout their facilities there. The people at CAC are talking about for their new facility in Virginia, kind of a thing. So I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled.
All right, so for everybody else, where can they find you online and maybe get themselves a print?
Oh, yeah, prints are available online. My website is Robert Julian NA for numismatic art. So robertjulianna.com. And you can find all my stuff there, and it's for sale. I was thinking about issuing like a coupon for people who saw this video, right? So if you just like reach out to me, say you saw me on this video, I'll get you a coupon for 20% off.
Fantastic. Robert, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
You guys have a great